Well, once again, the Trojans are coming off a victory, but once again, USC made it harder than it had to be. Welcome to another edition of Trojan Talk. I'm Jonathan Khamis, being joined by Michael Lev. And what are you holding in your hands there, Michael?
This is a yellow flag, Jonathan. This is the symbol of the USC season so far. 24 penalties in 2 games. It's really been kind of ridiculous. Something we're going to talk about during today's show, but meanwhile, I'm just going to toss this thing out of the way.
Oh, man. Well, 24 times. What's another time, you know? Do you carry that with you everywhere you go?
I do not, no.
Okay.
Although I could use something to wipe my brow right about now, but anyway.
Okay, let's talk about the game, man. 17-14 victory. Now, we sat here last week thinking that it was going to be a blowout, but once again, I guess the Trojans disappointing in a win.
Vegas thought that the Hawaii game was going to be a blowout. Vegas thought the Virginia game was going to be a blowout. Neither one of them was, and I think it's kind of representative of how USC has played, and that's above average, maybe at best. Not up to the standards that we're used to, not up to the standards that they're used to, not up to Lane Kiffin's expectations. I think it's going to be a process for this team, and the good thing is, for them, they don't really have a tough opponent until week 5.
Yeah, and 2 wins for the Trojans now. They went from ranked 14 to ranked 16 and now ranked 18, and they're 2-0, so go figure. But let's talk about some of the positives now, Michael. Matt Barkley hasn't thrown an interception in 2 games and looked great through the first 6 quarters this season, but in the second half, we saw him overthrow some receivers. Why did Matt Barkley struggle in the second half?
He was a little bit off. He was off in that game. I don't know if it was Virginia's pressure. I don't know if he was just kind of not feeling quite himself. He did do some good things with his legs.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, no interceptions in 2 games. That's a huge statistic. A year ago, in 12 appearances, he had 14 interceptions. Thus far this season, granted not against the best competition, he has a 7-0 touchdown to interception ratio. I think that's the biggest positive of this young season for USC.
And another really good thing, I thought Dylan Baxter was great whenever he had the ball, made some nice runs, made some things happen. I don't know if you noticed, but the fans were really excited every time he touched the ball. There's a buzz around the Coliseum whenever Dylan Baxter touches the rock.
I absolutely did notice that. What I liked is he made some tough runs too. It's always a question with especially a young guy coming in who's real shifty and has a lot of moves. Can he run between the tackles? And I think Dylan Baxter showed us in that game Saturday that he can do that.
Okay, so Trojans are 2-0, but let's preview their next opponent. They will be traveling to Minnesota. And Michael, get your jacket ready. Should be cold over there. What can we expect out of the Gophers?
Yeah, Minnesota's obviously they're a Big Ten team. The Big Ten is a BCS conference, but they might very well be the worst team in that conference. They lost to South Dakota a week ago. This is an FCS team, a home game, supposed to be a blowout for them, and it really kind of went the other way. The week before, they struggled to beat Middle Tennessee. So again, on paper, this is a game that USC should dominate, but thus far, that hasn't been the case.
Okay, well, let's make predictions for this game. I'll say Trojans 28, Minnesota 10. Give me your score.
Yeah, I think you're in the right range.
Hopefully.
That would, they'd be beating the spread in that case. They're favored by 2 touchdowns. I'm going to say something to the effect of 31-13. I'm going to stick with them. I'm going to say that this team does have talent. They're just kind of getting their feet on the ground, and they will improve this week.
Okay, here at Trojan Talk, we answer our readers. We are very interactive, so we're going to answer 2 today, and one of them coming from 22 Blast, and he asks, with the change in coaches, the head coach has gone from a rah-rah guy, and Pete Carroll, who is always upbeat, to a guy who have some described as dour or sullen on the sidelines. Has there been a change in the team as a result of this? And if so, what are some examples?
Yeah, I mean, there is a huge contrast between the 2 head coaches. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Lane Kiffin has even talked about not wanting to have the guys expend too much energy during warm-ups. He extends it that far. Did the team come out a little bit flat against Virginia? Yes, but I don't see how you can...
A lot of man coverages.
And it's the home opener. They haven't played in the Coliseum forever.
They're excited.
They should have been up for that game. And in the Hawaii game, they got off to a great start. So I don't think that that's really had a huge effect on their play on the field.
So let's go to another question. This one from Golden Helmets Are for Sissies. I wonder who he's dogging right
no
there.
Idea.
Right? Yeah.
No idea.
Okay, why did Kiffin run the ball with 4 seconds left instead of taking a knee?
Yeah, we saw the next night in the Dallas-Washington game in the NFL that if you don't take a knee at the end of the half, there can be disastrous consequences. So why did Lane Kiffin not do it? His explanation was that he didn't have enough tight ends left to line up in the quote-unquote victory formation. Jordan Cameron had suffered a concussion on that onside kick. Rhett Ellison was ejected from the game on that very same play. That's what Lane Kiffin said. To me, I don't know why you couldn't have just substituted in other guys and had them line up. But that was the coach's explanation, and he's the expert.
All right, well, that's it for this episode of Trojan Talk. Mr. Lev is going to Minnesota, where he'll no doubt freeze to death, so hopefully you'll stay warm there, pal.
I think I'll be okay. I think I'll survive.
Okay, until next week, thank you for watching.